At JFK Airport, the officer scanned my passport and waved me through. Then he scanned my 7-year-old daughter's passport. "Welcome home," he told her. Sophie smiled and pulled her little pink suitcase toward the blue doors. But when the officer opened my husband's passport, he stopped. He looked at the screen, then at Daniel, then back at the screen. "Sir, place both hands on the counter." Daniel did not ask why. That was the first moment I understood my husband knew something I didn't. A second officer appeared and took his passport. "Ma'am, take the child and continue through the blue doors." "We're together," I said. The officer's expression did not change. "Not right now." Daniel squeezed my hand before they led him away. "Take Sophie," he whispered. "Go without me." The door closed behind him with a soft, mechanical click. 3 hours later, an officer returned his backpack. My husband was not with him. Inside the front pocket was a sealed envelope with 6 words written in Daniel's handwriting. "If they separate us, open this." For a few seconds, I could not move. Around me, suitcases rolled across the floor. An announcement called passengers toward baggage claim. Sophie sat beneath a departure screen, hugging the stuffed rabbit Daniel had bought her before the flight. "Is Daddy still answering questions?" she asked. I looked at the envelope again. Daniel had not written, "If something goes wrong." He had written, "If they separate us." He had expected this. I tore the envelope open. "Anna, the name they found belongs to me, but it was never really mine. There is a woman named Miriam Hale. Her address is inside the red envelope. Take the brass key and ask her for the blue file. Do not show the file to anyone until you have spoken to a lawyer. I wanted to tell you before we flew. I tried more than once. Every time I looked at you and Sophie, I convinced myself the past would stay buried. I was wrong. I am sorry that my fear has become your emergency. Daniel." A small photograph slipped from the paper and landed beside my shoe. Daniel was 17 in the picture, thinner, frightened, standing beside another boy outside a brick building. On the back, someone had written 2 names, David Cruz and Elias Moreno. My husband's name was not David. At least, I had never known him by that name. A brass key was taped beneath the photograph. The red envelope held an address in Queens and a phone number. Then Daniel's phone vibrated inside the backpack. One new message appeared on the screen. "Don't trust Miriam." I stared at it until the words blurred. The message came from a number with no saved name. The profile photograph showed a man in his early 40s with a pale scar running from his ear to his jaw. I looked down at the old photograph. The boy beside Daniel had the same scar. I pressed call. A man answered on the second ring. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he said, "Did Daniel finally tell you what he did to me?" "Who is this?" "You saw the photograph." "Are you Elias?" The line went quiet. Sophie looked up at me. I turned away from her. "What did Daniel do?" The man gave a short, bitter laugh. "He left." "Left where?" "He knows." "I don't." "No," Elias said. "You don't know anything. That was always Daniel's gift." The call ended. I dialed back. No answer. A door opened near the inspection area. I stood so quickly that Sophie's rabbit fell to the floor. A different officer approached me. "Mrs. Mercer?" "Yes, where is my husband?" "He has asked to speak with you." "Can I see him?" "No, you'll be given a phone." The officer led me to a wall-mounted telephone at the end of the hall. The receiver was cold against my hand. Daniel's voice came through beneath a layer of static. "Anna? What is David Cruz?" He did not answer. I gripped the receiver harder. "Daniel, there is a photograph of you with another boy. Elias called your phone. He said you left him. Listen to me. Find Miriam. Take the key. Ask for the blue file. Stop giving me instructions and tell me the truth." "I will." "When?" A pause. "Did you know this might happen?" The airport announcement above me swallowed part of his reply. "Daniel? I'm sorry." That was not an answer, but it was enough. A recorded voice warned that the call would end in 30 seconds. "Sophie thinks you're answering questions," I said. "What am I supposed to tell her?" "Tell her I love her." "Tell her yourself." "Anna, please. The blue file explains what happened." "No, it explains what happened to you. I want to know what you did to us." The line clicked dead. I stood there holding the receiver long after the dial tone began. By the time Sophie and I left the airport, it was raining. My sister was waiting outside, but I told her I could not go home yet. I called Miriam Hale. An older woman answered. When I said Daniel's name, I heard something fall on the other end. "Where are you?" she asked. "JFK." "And Daniel?" "They took him." She breathed in sharply. Then she said, "Bring the key." Miriam lived in a narrow brick house on a quiet street in Queens. A yellow porch light burned above the door. I expected a secret lover, another wife, maybe even Daniel's real mother. Instead, a woman close to 70 opened the door wearing a gray cardigan and medical alert bracelet. She looked at me once, then at Sophie. Her face changed. "She has his eyes," Miriam whispered. Sophie moved behind my coat. Miriam stepped aside. "Come in." Her living room smelled like tea and old paper. Framed photographs covered one wall, but none showed Daniel. I placed the old picture on her table. "Who is David Cruz?" Miriam sat slowly. "A name given to Daniel by a man who brought him into this country when he was 17. Brought him how? With false documents and promises of legal work. The refrigerator hummed in the next room. Miriam folded her hands. There were 6 boys, maybe more. They slept in unfinished buildings and worked construction during the day. Their documents were taken. Their pay was taken. If they complained, they were threatened. I looked towards Sophie, who was drawing at the kitchen counter with crayons Miriam had found for her. "Daniel never told me any of this." "He told almost no one." "What happened?" "A metal beam fell at a job site. It cut his shoulder and broke 2 ribs. The man supervising them left him outside an emergency room under the name David Cruz." "You worked there?" "I was a hospital social worker." Miriam's eyes shifted toward the photograph. "He was terrified. He gave me 3 different stories in 1 hour. He thought every uniform meant he was being sent back to the man who controlled him." "And Elias?" Her silence answered before she did. Elias was another boy. The message said not to trust you. Miriam's hand tightened around the edge of the table. Elias has reasons to hate me. Do I? Before she could answer, someone knocked hard on the front door. 3 knocks, a pause, then 2 more. Miriam stood. Were you followed? I don't know. The knocking came again. A man's voice called through the door. You told her to come here, didn't you? Elias. Miriam did not move. I opened the door before she could stop me. The man from the phone stood beneath the porch light, rainwater running from his coat. The scar beside his jaw was deeper than it looked in the photograph. His eyes went straight to the picture in my hand. You kept that, he said to Miriam. She needs the truth, Miriam replied. Elias looked at me. Then ask her why she saved Daniel and left me there. Sophie appeared in the hallway. I told her to stay in the kitchen. Elias lowered his voice. Daniel and I planned to run together. He promised we would leave after dark. I waited behind the building for 2 hours. He never came. He was in a hospital, Miriam said. Not that night, the night before. Elias stepped into the room. He left alone. The men found me. They broke my jaw and locked me in a storage room. My eyes moved to his scar. How did you get out? Police came 3 days later. Miriam said, because Daniel called them. Elias turned on her. You don't know that. Yes, I do. She walked toward a hallway door. Anna, bring the key. We followed her down a narrow staircase into the basement. At the bottom stood a metal cabinet. Inside it was a small blue cash box with a brass lock. My hand shook as I inserted the key. The lock turned with a heavy click. Inside were hospital records, old photographs, a folded police report, and a portable cassette recorder wrapped in a towel. Miriam pressed play. Static filled the basement. Then a teenage boy's voice spoke. My real name is Daniel Mercer. I had heard my husband tired, angry, laughing, and half asleep. I had never heard him afraid like that. On the tape, a woman asked about the other workers. Daniel began naming them. When he reached Elias, his voice broke. There was another boy. I left him there. The tape stopped. Elias stared at the recorder. You cut it. Miriam shook her head. The batteries died. No, you always protected him. He was a child. So was I. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Elias picked up the police report and unfolded it. A phone call had been placed from the hospital at 2:14 in the morning. The caller refused to give his name, but provided the address where the boys were being held. Elias read the line twice. That could have been anyone. Miriam reached beneath the documents and removed a second page. The call had been recorded. She replaced the cassette with another and pressed play. Daniel's teenage voice whispered through the speaker. They will move them before morning. Please hurry. One boy is hurt because I left without him. Elias sat down on the basement step. All the anger went out of his face at once, leaving only exhaustion. He never told me, he said. He was ashamed, Miriam replied. That does not make it better. No, she said. It does not. My phone rang. The name on the screen was Helen Park, an immigration attorney my sister had found while we were driving. I answered in the basement. Helen spoke quickly but calmly. Daniel was still being questioned. The officers had connected his fingerprints to an old record under another name. They were also reviewing answers he had given during his visa process. "Can the records here help him?" I asked. "They may explain what happened when he was 17, she said, "but explanation is not the same as erasure." "What does that mean?" "It means being exploited may matter. The false name may matter. The fact that he was a minor may matter. But what he disclosed as an adult also matters." I looked at the blue file. Daniel told me not to show this to anyone until I spoke to a lawyer. "You are speaking to one." "If I give it to you, can it hurt him?" "Yes." The honesty of her answer frightened me more than a promise would have. "It can also help him," she continued. "But I need everything, not a selected version, not only the pages that make him sympathetic." Elias watched me from the stairs. Miriam said nothing. Helen asked, "Mrs. Mercer, did your husband know this old identity had resurfaced before he traveled?" "I don't know." "But I did. The prepared envelope, the key, the instructions, his silence on the phone." "He knew something," I said. Helen arranged another call with Daniel. This time, his voice sounded smaller. "I did not ask about David Cruz. I did not ask about Elias. I asked the only question that mattered now. When did you learn the old record might be connected to you?" Daniel breathed into the receiver. 6 months ago." The room around me seemed to tilt. 6 months? "A consultant helping with my records found a fingerprint reference. He said it might never be matched." "So you bought the tickets anyway?" "Yes." "You packed a letter in case they separated us?" "Yes." "You brought our daughter?" His voice cracked. "I believed we would be okay." "No, you hoped we would be okay. Those are not the same thing." "I was afraid if I told you, you would refuse to come." "You were right." Silence. "That was my decision to make, Daniel. I wanted to give Sophie the life we planned. You did not protect us. You made a plan for our family without allowing us to choose." "I know." "No, you know now, because the plan failed." A recorded voice announced 1 minute remaining. Daniel said, "The file proves I was a victim. It also proves Elias was a victim. I called the police. And then you spent 25 years pretending he did not exist." I was ashamed. "So you turned shame into another person's silence. Then you did the same thing to me." He began to cry quietly. I had seen Daniel cry only twice, when Sophie was born and when his father died. Hearing it did not soften the truth. "What are you going to do?" he asked. I looked at the blue file in my lap. "I'm going to stop helping you hide." Helen met me at the airport shortly before midnight. The terminal was nearly empty. Cleaning machines hummed across the polished floor. Sophie slept across 2 plastic chairs with her head on my sister's coat. I handed Helen the entire blue file. Not just the hospital record, not just the police call, everything. She reviewed the pages, then looked at me. "This may not keep him here tonight. I understand. Once submitted, we cannot control which part matters most." I understand. But I did not fully understand until 2 hours later, when Daniel called one last time. He had agreed to return rather than force a longer decision at the airport. "They are putting me on the morning flight," he said. My knees weakened. "We gave them everything." "I know." "Then why are they sending you back?" "Because truth is not a door that opens the moment you touch it." For once, he did not ask me to fix anything. He did not tell me what to do. He only said, "Tell Sophie I am sorry." "No," I replied. "You will tell her every day until she believes you are not disappearing." At sunrise, Sophie stood beside the airport window and watched a plane climb through the clouds. "Is Daddy on that one?" she asked. I told her I did not know. She pressed her rabbit against the glass. Then she whispered, "He forgot his breakfast seat." That sentence broke me more than anything Daniel had said. The first months were not cinematic. There were no dramatic courtroom victories, no officer called to apologize, no envelope contained the perfect answer. There were forms, interviews, fees, sworn statements, missed calls, and nights when Sophie asked whether loving someone meant they always came back. Daniel spoke to her every morning. Sometimes she refused to answer. Sometimes she placed the phone at his empty chair and ate cereal without speaking. He never asked her to forgive him. He simply stayed on the line. Elias gave a statement. He described the men who controlled them, the night Daniel disappeared, and the police raid that followed. He also said Daniel had abandoned him. Both things were true. Miriam gave every record she had kept. Both things were true. Daniel admitted the false name, the omitted history, and the warning he had received 6 months before our flight. He stopped trying to shape the truth into something that would save him. That was the first change I trusted. 14 months after the airport separated us, Helen called. "Daniel has been cleared to travel," she said. I sat down on the kitchen floor. Sophie heard the words and ran to her room. I thought she was upset. She returned carrying the pink suitcase she had refused to unpack since the day we arrived. At JFK, we waited near the same blue doors. Every mechanical click made my chest tighten. Passengers came through in waves. Families embraced. Drivers raised signs. Children climbed onto shoulders. Then the doors opened again. Daniel stepped through alone. He looked older, thinner. He stopped when he saw us. Sophie did not run. For several seconds, she simply stared at him, as if she needed proof that he would not disappear when the doors closed again. Daniel set down his bag and knelt. "I'm here," he said. Sophie walked toward him slowly. Then she touched his face with both hands. "You took too long." "I know." She wrapped her arms around his neck. Daniel closed his eyes. I stayed where I was. When he finally stood, he reached into his coat and removed the old red envelope. The one he should have shown me before our first flight. It had been opened. Inside was a letter dated the night before we traveled. "Anna, there is something about my past that may stop me at the border. I have been afraid to tell you because I know the truth may change our plans. But they are not only my plans. They are yours too. I never gave her that letter." Daniel folded it and placed it in my hand. "No more plans you don't know about," he said. I looked at the man I had loved, the boy he had been, and the lies he had built between them. The truth did not bring you home that night, I told him. His eyes lowered. But it brought you home without another lie. He nodded. I did not promise that everything would return to normal. Normal was what we had before I knew the truth. I did not want it back. I took his hand because rebuilding is not the same as forgetting, and forgiveness is not the same as pretending nothing happened. Families do not survive because nobody leaves. They survive when the people who return are finally brave enough to arrive as themselves.